Lukmaan IAS. Today we are going to have the Hindu newspaper analysis dated this 26th of September 2023. In today's newspaper analysis, we are going to cover a mapping topic and we are going to cover those articles that are important for the UPSC exam. So let us quickly see the list of articles that are important from today's newspaper. So these are list of articles and these are additional articles. So in all we are going to cover about 10 articles and one mapping topic. So we will be little quick also today in covering these topics. So the first topic is a mapping topic. This topic is important for the examination because this keyword is coming every day in the newspaper. Okay, this Caucasus. This keyword is coming every day in the newspaper. It is associated with the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict that is happening between Azerbaijan and Armenia. So Azerbaijan and Armenia, so these are the countries which are located over here in this region. So this region, this is the physical map of that particular region. It showcases Caucasus mountains. Okay, so Caucasus is name of mountain ranges. So one of the Caucasus range is known as Greater Caucasus, other is known as Lesser Caucasus. Greater Caucasus means it is a lengthier and more let's say heavy mountain ranges as compared to the Lesser Caucasus. Okay, so this is the thing. So this is one significance. The Nagorno-Karabakh conflict is one significance. Good evening, Vijay Lal. Thank you so much for joining. And the other importance is like on one side we have one sea, on the other side we have another sea. We need to remember the name of those seas also that are, let's say, like on either side of the Caucasus ranges. Okay, and then it is also important to understand that these Caucasus ranges, it is actually dividing the Western Asia with Eastern Europe. This divides Western Asia with Eastern Europe. So what are names of those, let's say, like, those what we say rivers that actually divides these that this particular mountain range is dividing. Okay, so here we are going to look into that part also. So on one side we have Caspian Sea, on the other side we have Black Sea. Okay, Caspian Sea and Black Sea. So we will see in this article also Black Sea on one side. So it is situated between Black Sea to the west and Caspian Sea to the east. So this is where we have Black Sea. Okay, and this is where we have Caspian Sea. Caspian Sea. And these are Caucasus mountain ranges. These are Greater Caucasus, these are Lesser Caucasus. And Azerbaijan and Armenia are in news because of conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh region. So that region is over here. Okay, I'm just writing NK. NK means Nagorno-Karabakh region. So Nagorno-Karabakh region actually falls in the Lesser Caucasus because this entire Armenia is in the part of Lesser Caucasus. Then this Azerbaijan, we can see it is the Greater Caucasus extends to Azerbaijan also, and the Lesser Caucasus also extends to Azerbaijan. This is also an important, let's say, information, because we need to keep in mind that Azerbaijan, which is a conflicting country with Armenia, it has mountain ranges from Greater as well as from Lesser Caucasus. However, in the Armenia we have Lesser Caucasus only. Okay, and this Caucasus mountain range divides Western Asia with Eastern Europe, and also it is between two seas. On one side, on the eastern side we have Caspian Sea, and on the west side we have Black Sea. So this is important information. It will be important for the prelims exam, because in prelims exam there is a likelihood of, let's say, coming this topic. And there was an editorial also today that talks about the Caucasus. Now let us talk about the first topic. This topic is very, very important. Why this topic is important? Because in this article they have mentioned some of the partnerships where India has entered into. I mean, it's a kind of global coalition. Okay, so we are going to discuss about it. This is known as Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. We will understand about this partnership through this article, Global Partnership for Artificial Intelligence, and we are also going to discuss about one important thing which is known as United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Okay, so UNCRC. Okay, UNCRC, we are going to understand about this thing also. And this article has, let's say, is connected with GS paper 3 as part of science and technology. It is also connected with GS paper 2, right? Social justice. It can be connected with GS paper 1 also, the society part. Okay, so this article is very, very important because it has, let's say, cross subject relevance. So here basically in this article, what the author has discussed about, the author has discussed about the issue of child rights in regulation of artificial intelligence. Okay, so why regulation of artificial intelligence is important? So let's understand this thing in detail. This is a very important article. Okay, so I'm going to write the name of the topic. Name of the topic is Children, a Key Yet Missed Demographic in AI Regulation. Children, missed in or missed? Now we need to understand the context of this topic first, then we are going to talk about that how rights of the children is important. Okay, so the thing is, we know artificial intelligence has gained importance because of launch of generative AI, right? Because of launch of generative AI. Generative AI means there are various kinds of technologies. One of the technologies is ChatGPT. So what it is doing, using ChatGPT we can generate content, means it is able to give us answer in text format. Apart from this, there are other kind of, let's say, generative AI that is able to generate images, that is able to generate videos. Okay, so this is the era of, I would say, the artificial intelligence, where this generative AI has caught imagination of people. I mean, now we can ask any and every question to generative AI and they are going to give us answer. However, this generative AI, if we talk about what is a generative AI system, if we discuss about what is a generative AI system, so this generative AI system actually requires some kind of inputs. Okay, we need some kind of inputs in the sense while training this particular thing. Okay, so while we train it, okay, so okay, so we generally provide inputs to generative AI. Once we give inputs, I mean those people who are training this generative AI, they give lot of inputs, okay, billions of input parameters, and they train this particular system. And once this system is trained, then it is made available for the general public. Then general public, I mean they are giving some input and they are getting output. And from those input output also this generative AI is learning. However, this generative AI acts as a black box. Black box. Black box means once we have entered parameters over here, so it learns from the existing parameters and also it learns from the, let's say, all the kind of conversation that is happening over here. The moment, let's say, any kind of, let's say, fallacious information goes into it or misinformation goes into it, so that misinformation is going to replicate. Okay, there will not be any control of the person who has made this system in having, let's say, better output. Okay, so there is no control, so it acts as a black box. So that's why I mean it has lot of potential of, for example, related to misinformation. I mean this generative AI can generate misinformation, it can generate false information, it can generate those contents that may be, let's say, harmful for our children's let's say mind. So this is the thing. So that's why people around the world, they have thought they started thinking how to regulate generative AI. Why regulation is important? Initially when generative AI came, people started doing an analysis whether it is helpful or it is let's say like not helpful. I mean like whether it is actually giving some benefit or it is giving let's say negative things. So there was a pros and cons analysis of it. Once pros and cons analysis was done, people have realized that it has more pros as compared to the cons that it has. Okay, so the thing is like we are going to stay with generative AI. Generative AI is going to stay with us for long time to come because it has more pros. But the thing is the cons that it has, right? How to control those cons? So we cannot control because the thing is like these generative AI systems are owned by private organizations and individuals, and it is being used by billions of people across the world. So the thing is people started thinking how we can regulate so that it meets the social standards, so that like it meets with the government rules and regulations. So there was a race of let's say regulating this particular generative AI. The Western countries like European Union has already come up with a law to regulate generative AI. Japan, like which is in the eastern portion, it has also come up with a law to regulate generative AI. China has come up with a law. India has yet not adopted any law that regulates the generative AI. However, what we have done is like we have joined a partnership. So when artificial intelligence was being developed, at that point of time, a partnership emerged. Name of that partnership is known as Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. And India has joined that Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, and India became one of the founding members. I mean like initially there were many countries who have let's say like visualized this particular thing. India has joined as a founding member. And why this is important? Because it will help different countries to adopt artificial intelligence, and also they will be making some kind of rules and regulation, draft rules and regulation that can be implemented by different countries across the world. So that for that matter, we have adopted Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. So after discussing this article, I'm going to talk about a question. After the question, I'm going to talk about which countries are members of this Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. Okay, earlier there were 10 member countries, but lately there were many countries who have joined. Okay, so that's the thing. So now why artificial intelligence is important? Because it has big potential of boosting the economy of different countries. So in this article they have said that like this artificial intelligence is projected to add $500 billion to India's economy by 2025. Means within 2 years it has the potential of adding $500 billion. So like it's a very huge it has a very huge potential, okay, economic potential. So the thing is like against this backdrop, Prime Minister recently called for a global framework on ethical expansion of AI. Okay, so that's the thing. And like given sheer volume of data that India can generate, it has opportunity to set a policy example for the global south. Means India is one of the largest country in the world. I mean like we have the largest population in the world. So like our users will be more in number as compared to any other country. So it is important that we should think of regulating the artificial intelligence, and we can come up with a draft document for regulating the artificial intelligence, and this draft document may be adopted by many other global south countries. Okay, because like India has been a voice for global south. In the G20 summit also, the Prime Minister of India has talked about that this is the time of global south. Okay, and like he has talked about multilateral forums also. So that's why it is important. Now, having understood about artificial intelligence, now let us understand like who are the key stakeholders. I mean like the citizens of different countries, they are key stakeholders because they are going to use artificial intelligence. But the thing is, this artificial intelligence will be used in different forms in the times to come. Presently, we are using the artificial intelligence for generating content. But the thing is, artificial intelligence can be used to generate, let's say, deep fake videos. Okay, deep fake videos means like where what happens if you have image of a particular person, you can morph that image into a video. That video may be sexually explicit, and someone can put that video in the internet, so it is going to affect the emotional and psychological well-being of a kid. So that's why, like, you know, while we think of regulating the artificial intelligence, we also need to keep in mind that how it is going to affect the children. Okay, so now the parents have the responsibility, because in future children may be will start using artificial intelligence. They will use in their mobile phones, and they will get affected also. So the thing is, it will be onus of the parents to keep their children away from, you know, harming technologies. But the greater onus or greater responsibility lies with the nation, with India. Means, like, you know, how we can regulate it so that, like, you know, it has least or lesser, right, effect, negative effect on children. So in this article they have talked about, like, you know, that like we should have our regulation mechanism in such a manner so that it protects the rights of the children also. And in this article the author has talked about that India is a signatory to the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Okay, so this UN Convention on the Rights of the Child talks about what are the rights of the child, how nations should treat child, how parents should treat child. So accordingly, like, you know, this UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, some of the provisions of those UN Convention can be taken in the draft regulation framework, draft policy framework that we are making. So through this article the author has talked about the importance of UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. Okay, so the UNICEF stands for United Nations International Children's Emergency Fund. Okay, so this UNICEF's guidance for policy makers on AI and children, okay, it identifies, okay, UNICEF has framed a guideline that identifies 9 such requirements for child-centered AI, and they have taken the help from the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. So that's the thing. So in this article they have talked about that the children is a key stakeholder, and the thing is, like, we should not neglect them, because, like, they are the future for the country, because, like, they are going to grow, they are going to, let's say, take the country forward. So it is important that their rights should be taken into consideration while formulating any kind of regulatory document, okay, that regulates the artificial intelligence. So the author says that the nature of digital services means that many cutting edge AI deployments are not designed specifically for the children, even though they are accessed by them. Okay, so many technologies are there that are not designed for children, but, like, you know, they are accessible to the children. That's the thing. Now, so let us talk about this question. Through this question we are going to talk about how many member countries are there in GPAI, Global Partnership for Artificial Intelligence, and let us understand about it. It says, with reference to the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, consider the following statements. They have given few statements. One of the statements says, GPAI is hosted by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. So the thing is, the GPAI, it's a partnership, but this is partnership among countries. There should be an office where, like, let's say, like, artificial intelligence related things will be taken care of, where the let's say people who are working under GPAI, they'll be seated. So the thing is, this Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, it has given an office space for GPAI in its own building. So that's why this question says that this GPAI is hosted on the by the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. Okay, so it is there in that building. Okay, and then there are member countries who have joined GPAI. That's the thing. Second, the partnership was proposed by Canada and France at 2018 44th G7 summit and officially launched in June 2020. Okay, and India is a founding member. All these statements are correct in this question. Okay, means, like, these are just to make you aware of the like information related to this topic. So India is to host the first ever global summit. Okay, so India is about to host the Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence Summit. Like, its summit has been conducted in other countries so far, but India is about to host its summit recently. Okay, so that's the thing. So additionally, the chair of the Global Partnership of Artificial Intelligence, India will also be hosted the GPAI Global Summit in December. So they have mentioned, they have mentioned about OECD and all. Okay, so Now let us understand about the member countries of GPAI. So I think at this point of time there are more than 15 countries. Okay, so I read it in 2020, I guess, during COVID-19 period. So that time I have read like there were 10 member countries, the founding one. Here they have mentioned 15, so you need to check. Okay, name of member countries is not that important. I mean, like, Australia, Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Mexico, New Zealand, Republic of Korea, Singapore, Slovenia, United Kingdom, United States, and European Union. So these are member countries of Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence. So they have mentioned about, like, what are the focus areas of GPAI. AI principles and values, AI research and development, AI policy and governance, AI awareness and education. Okay, related to this, like in India also, Government of India has created a specific website like India AI, if I remember it correctly. So if you visit that website, they share a lot of developmental thing related to AI, means like what is happening in AI, what is new AI, means a person who does not know about AI, so like they'll be knowing. So it is an awareness, it is for awareness. Okay, citizenship, citizen awareness program. Now this is another question on the same article. It says, with reference to United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, UNCRC, okay, United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, consider the following statements. They have given 3 statements. It was adopted by the United Nations General Assembly on 20 November. Date is not important, and came into force on 2nd September. I mean, like, dates are not important. However, this is information is correct. Then CRC has the CRC has been used to reduce child mortality rates and improve child health outcomes. This is important. This is right. Okay. So this CRC has been used to reduce child mortality rates. I mean, like, if you protect the rights of children, so like, their mortality can be reduced. Okay. The rights means, like, do not put young children to hazardous work. So if you put them into hazardous work, so like, so death rate will go up. If you stop them from putting it, so like, their death rate will go down. So in India also we have, let's say, labor reform policies where they talked about the children below the age of, let's say, 15 or 14 years cannot be like made to work in hazardous industries and all. Okay, so this is the thing. So India ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child in 1992. All the 3 statements are correct, and they are asking which of the above statements are incorrect. Okay, here they are asking incorrect, but all the 3 are correct. So correct answer would be option D. Okay, option D is the right answer. So having understood this, you can go through the explanation in your free time later on. Now this is another topic. It says G20 diplomacy and a shifting world order. Again, it is G20. I mean, like, we have studied so many articles on this topic. Basically, this article has been written by a prominent author. So here the author has talked about the importance of G20, that India has recently presided over G20 summit. So like, what differences did India make? So it talks about the, let's say, consensus document, New Delhi Declaration. It talks about all the good things that G20 has done. India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor. In this article, they have mentioned about that also. So that we discussed recently, like, through a map also previously. So it has been told by the author over here. And the thing is, in this article, the author has said that how G20 has emerged, how this organization, let's say, came into being. So now the thing is, like, India became a founding member of G20, and it was formed in 1991 as a grouping of finance ministers and central bank governors. This is an additional information in this article, that how G20 came into being, and India became a founding member. So this information is also important for the prelims exam, because, like, in prelims they may ask, India is a founding member of G20. Many people may think that India is not a founding member, but it is a founding member. That's an important thing. In GPAI also, Global Partnership on Artificial Intelligence, India was a founding member. Okay, so this is important. This information is important for the prelims exam. Then it says, like, it initially started, G20 initially started as a grouping of finance ministers and central bank governors. I mean, like, you know, central bank governor, for example, Shaktikanta Das is the governor of RBI. The finance minister is Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman. So let's say from India side, these two people will visit there wherever summit is happening, and from other countries, the central bank governor and their finance minister will come. So that way it has initially started, but later on what has happened, I mean, like, you know, it has, India has hosted G20 meeting earlier also in 2002. That time it was not summit level where, like, you know, the countries participate, okay. But later on what has happened, today India is amongst the leaders whose word counts, and so that's why they have mentioned. This information was important from this article, and the author has also talked about that, like, you know, this G20, I mean, like, the G20 summit, there are many lacunas also associated with it, okay. So author has said, like, we need to address all those lacuna as well. So in this article they have talked about that like NATO related thing. NATO means North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So what is North Atlantic Treaty Organization? It's an organization which is established by the Western countries through a treaty which is known as Washington Treaty. So in North Atlantic Treaty Organization, there are many member countries who are from Europe. So it is a security organization. So the thing is, these countries, I mean, like, you know, so as part of, so let us talk about this NATO also. It is an important information, okay. So this is related to the next topic. So let's discuss about what is North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So it is a military or security organization, okay. We can say it to be a military or security organization, okay. This organization was established through a treaty which is known as Washington Treaty. What treaty? Washington Treaty. And the purpose of this particular organization is collective security of the member states. So as per Washington Treaty, there is an article which is known as Article 5. The Article 5 of this treaty talks about collective security. What? Collective security. So what is collective security? They say that a threat to attack on any one of us will be considered a threat on attack on all of us. And in the event of an attack on one of us, all of us are going to retaliate against the common adversary. Means, let's say, like, you know, in this NATO, let's say, like, you know, there are, for example, you need to see how many member countries are there, okay. There are n like huge number of member countries. If, let's say, many member countries are there, if there is an attack on any one member country, all the member country together will, let's say, retaliate against that. So like, it is providing collective security to all these countries. And this NATO, I mean, like, you know, Article 5 has been first time invoked by United States of America after an attack by Osama bin Laden on their World Trade Center. So on World Trade Center, we know in 2000, I think in 2000, so there was an attack on the World Trade Center in USA. So after then, let's say, like, you know, they have attacked, where? They have attacked Afghanistan, they have attacked, okay. I mean, like, you know, so to root out the terrorism from there. So they have invoked collective security, and all the member countries have given their resource, right, here, over here, that's the thing. So this is why the North Atlantic Treaty Organization becomes important. This topic has been there in news for a long time this year itself. So it is important that you learn about this organization and also learn about its membership. So presently now, let's say it has 31 members. How many members it has? 31 members. Recently, one country has joined. I mean, like, you know, earlier it had 30. Finland has recently joined. Okay, Finland has joined. And Sweden wants to join. Which country wants to join? Sweden wants to join it. Okay, it has not yet joined, but it has joined. So Sweden has to follow certain procedures to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. And also Ukraine has been asking about its membership for a long time. Ukraine also wants to join. the NATO organization. It has 2 steps to join. Okay, so for Ukraine, 1 step has been waived off. They just need to let's say fulfill 1 of the requirement, then they will be added as a member of this thing. Okay, North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Why Ukraine wants to join it? Because like it will become a member of this collective security organization. That's the thing. So this is the thing. I mean, like in this article they said euphoria about G20 outcome under India's presidency needs to be tempered given the many dark clouds on the global horizon. So it says that like although like we have created a huge aura through the G20 thing, but the thing is in the world lot of things are happening which are not under control. For example, Russia-Ukraine conflict that is there. In Africa, Niger, I mean toppling has been there. In let's say like South China Sea, there is issue. So a lot of things are there in the world. So the thing is like we should not promote ourselves that the only power in the world. So the author says like we need to let's say like there are many dark clouds in the world. So this is what the author says in this article. Okay, so BRICS, I mean like in this article they have mentioned about BRICS also, and BRICS membership has also been increased. Earlier there were 5 members, 6 new members had been added. So BRICS has 11 members as of now. G20 African Union has been added over there. That's the thing. So with this we will move to another topic quickly. It says it's a long road to women's equality. So this article is related to let's say like a bill that has been passed by both the houses of the parliament. The name of the bill is known as Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. Okay, it is known as Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. So this bill has been introduced by the parliament through 128th Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, so that's the thing. So through this bill they want to give 33% reservation to women. Okay, 33% reservation to women in Lok Sabha and also in state legislative assembly seats. Okay, and however this reservation will be given to only SC and ST women. OBCs have been excluded. Okay, OBC have been excluded from this bill as of now. So the thing is like recently what has happened, the Prime Minister of India has introduced, but they want to give this benefit to SC and ST. The Congress party, they said like OBCs must also be included. Okay, so this was their let's say contentious point from like this thing. So this article, in this article they say that although even if president signs on this bill, these people, the women, are not going to get the benefit of it immediately. They say that like in this article they have said that its implementation may be let's say by 2029, because on 2026 there will be a delimitation exercise. Delimitation means where we draw the boundary of constituencies for Lok Sabha elections and for state legislative assembly elections. The last delimitation exercise that was done, it was done in 1976, and we had considered the census of 1971. That was done under 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act. And then they have envisaged that in 2001 we will do it again. But 2001 they have done an amendment into the constitution and they have postponed it till 2026. And as part of this particular bill, which is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam, the government of India has mentioned that we are going to do it after delimitation is conducted and after the next census. But census is pending because in 2020 and 21 we had what? COVID-19. So the next census may happen anytime when the government wishes, but generally it happens after every 10 years. Okay, it may be done after the 2024 general election or may be done in 2031 along with the next census. So that's the thing. So in this article the author has talked about that it is imperative that the reservation policy for women recognizes the multiple and unequal forms that patriarchy takes in excluding women from public life. Okay, Means like in this article they say that patriarchy is there in this society and they need to implement it completely so that like that patriarchy can be, I mean, like, you know, weeded out. And they have talked about a committee also in this article. This name of this committee is Towards Equality Report. A report was published, Towards Equality Report of the committee, and name of the committee I'll talk about. So they have mentioned here some Barua committee. Okay, so that committee has actually, like, you know, talked about that the status of women in India, which declares that women were turning into a minority. Okay, so this was the first time eye-opening in 1970s and this thing. So that's the thing. Okay, so in this article they have talked about that OBC women must be given reservation, because OBCs, I mean, like, you know, they are large in number and they are being marginalized. Okay, from the Indian, like they are being marginalized from public spheres in Indian society. Okay, so Samajwadi Party, they have written about many parties also, but like there was a name of a committee. So I'll talk about this name. I have highlighted this name in the article. All right, so we can find that out at a later date maybe. So this is the thing. In this article, basically they have talked about that women should be given, I mean, like, importance. And they have said that, like, you know, in the Northeast India, I mean, like, there are many sections in Northeast. They say, like, you know, there are matrilineal society. I mean, like, you know, the household is headed by the women. But they say, like, deeply within, if you take a closer look, it is also, let's say, patriarchal society, because from the matrilineal side also, the man actually takes the power. That's the thing. Okay, now, so this way, I mean, like in this article they have mentioned. Now we have another topic. It says war in the Caucasus. So we have seen the map of Caucasus recently. We have seen the map. We will see another map. The map that we have seen initially, that is a physical map that talks about the greater Caucasus and lesser Caucasus. And we are going to see the, let's say, like, you know, the political map of it. So here we will be able to see the name of the countries also. So like somewhere here we have greater Caucasus and we have lesser Caucasus over here, like that. Okay. So the thing is, this Azerbaijan and this is Armenia, and this is the region of conflict. And the thing is, like, from here recently Azerbaijan has sent its forces. They have taken control of the territory, and all the separatist people have been, let's say, forced to flee from this. So they have, let's say, like, you know, come to Armenia now. Those people, like, who were under suppression by the Azerbaijan forces. So the thing is, like, on one side of Caucasus we have Caspian Sea. On the other side we have Black Sea. This is also important. I mean, like, you need to remember the name of these seas also. Okay, so in Caucasus a war is happening. A war in the sense, I mean, like, because of Nagorno-Karabakh conflict. Okay, so Azerbaijan brisk military recapture of Nagorno-Karabakh, Armenian. So they have talked about this thing. We don't need to go into detail about it. We have already discussed about this particular thing. Okay, Nagorno-Karabakh. So this has been in news, but in this article they have mentioned in detail from which corridor people have run away and all. Okay, now this is another important article. It says the Cauvery water conundrum. Okay, so conundrum means a kind of dilemma. Okay, dilemma related to sharing of water of Cauvery river. This Cauvery river originates from the state of Karnataka. And from Karnataka it flows to, let's say, like Tamil Nadu, and it flows to Kerala and some other states also. So the thing is, like, there has been dispute between different states earlier, and those dispute was related to water sharing, that how the water of Cauvery basin will be shared among these states. So the government of India has created, let's say, like, you know, interstate water dispute tribunal. And that interstate water dispute tribunals are formulated for each river basin. For Cauvery river basin also, they have created a separate interstate water disputes tribunal. In the Constitution of India, there is Article 262. that talks about the authority of these, let's say, interstate water dispute tribunal, and they talks about that Supreme Court will not be having any authority on this. I mean, like, the tribunal can take the decision on that matter. So the thing is, recently the Tamil Nadu state, this state has been approaching Supreme Court time and again. Why? They wanted Supreme Court that you give direction to Karnataka for release of water. We need the water for irrigation purposes, otherwise the crop that we have, let's say, like, planted, so they are going to get dried and we will not be able to harvest the crop. So that was the viewpoint of the Tamil Nadu government, and Supreme Court has intervened. Supreme Court has directed Karnataka that, like, you release this much amount of water, and Supreme Court has considered the viewpoint of an authority which is, let's say, Cauvery Water Management Authority. Okay, so Cauvery Water Management Authority takes a decision on that behalf that how much water is to be shared. But this year, as we have talked in previous articles, that this year the monsoon was very less. Okay, monsoon was very less, and we have seen lesser rainfall in Indian subcontinent, and that is also attributed because of El Nino factor. Which factor? El Nino. We have discussed about what is El Nino in previous article in detail. So because of El Nino, Southern Oscillation, or El Nino, along with El Nino, so there is another thing which is Indian Ocean Dipole. So these are the factors because of which we had lesser rainfall in India. Since we had lesser rainfall, earlier there was a decision by, let's say, by the Supreme Court of India that this much amount of water should be shared by Karnataka to other states. But the thing is, since rainfall is less, if they have received lesser water and if they share all those water to other states, how will Karnataka survive? So the thing is, Karnataka government has recently talked to the Supreme Court. They have said that, like, we have water scarcity in this state, and especially let's say if we talk about Bengaluru, so there is, let's say, drinking water problem also, like, people are not having sufficient water to meet the drinking purpose. So that's why through this article the author suggests that there should be a distress sharing formula. What formula? Distress sharing formula means whenever we have lesser rainfall, in that case, like, the other state should also understand that rainfall is less despite the previous decisions that have been taken. So if rainfall is less, so, like, distress should be shared by different states altogether. So in this article they have talked about that thing. Okay, so you can go through the article to understand about, let's say, whatever I have discussed so far. And they talk about a kind of crop which is known as kuruvai. So this is a short-term crop, and this crop, for this crop, I mean, like, this crop is, let's say, like, harvested in the state of Tamil Nadu, and they say, like, we need water immediately, otherwise, like, many farmers will not be able to reap the benefit of the, let's say, crop that they have sown. And there are many farmers, you see, like, they are sitting on the river and they are protesting. Okay, so these farmers are protesting in the state of, let's say, in Tamil Nadu. Basically, in this article they have talked about there are farmers organization in Karnataka who have tried to, let's say, like, capture one particular place. I mean, like, the Mysuru Zilla Panchayat. So they want to capture, and those people have been taken into custody. So this is a political problem that is happening between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. Okay, Tamil Nadu farmers are protesting, Karnataka farmers are protesting. Okay, so this is the thing. So we have another topic. Now let us discuss about this topic. It says, what are the findings of the Parliament panel on NEP? NEP means National Education Policy of 2020. So Government of India has come up with National Education Policy of 2020. In that National Education Policy, they have made huge changes into the way that education was imparted to people. The, let's say, 12+3, that formula has also been changed. For school education, they have certain recommendation. For higher education, they have certain recommendation. And recently, let's say, a study was conducted by a committee that has 31 members, and that committee, after doing the study of how this national education policy is being implemented by higher educational institutions, This national education policy talks about school education also, it talks about higher education also. But recently this particular 31 member panel committee has done a study of higher educational institutes and the way how they are implementing the recommendation of national education policy. And they have said that, like, there is a mechanism which is known as multiple entry, multiple exit, okay, MEME, okay, multiple entry, multiple exit, okay. So this multiple entry, multiple exit system is good. However, higher educational institutes are facing difficulty in implementing this particular thing. And they have said that around 95% of the higher educational institutes are of state government and private organizations. Around 5 to 6% of higher education students in higher educational institutes are from centrally funded institutions. Okay, so so they say that, like, the state governments should be given weight. State universities, state institutions and private institutions should be given weight, and their let's say, like, issue should be heard. Okay, so they say that, like, these I mean, like, they are facing difficulty in implementation. So they have tabled a report in the parliament. So in this article they have talked about this thing. Okay, so they say that Parliamentary Standing Committee on Education tabled a report during the special session of parliament, and name of the report is mentioned here. It is implementation of the National Education Policy 2020 in higher education. Okay, means how national education policy is being implemented in higher education or higher educational institution. So this committee has 31 members, and they try to discuss such issues as the rigid separation of disciplines. So they have discussed all of it. Okay, so basically main issue is multiple entry, multiple exit thing. Some people say, like, it is good for the students. Some people say the, like, institutions are facing difficulty to implement this. Okay, so we have another topic. This topic is very, very important. Although this topic is a review of a book, okay, this topic is a review of a book, but that book is related to, let's say, Northeast. So it says why the Northeast cannot be treated as a single homogeneous territory. Okay, means, like, we consider Northeast to be a single homogeneous territory, but the thing is, like, there are huge differences from one region to another in Northeast. In this article they have mentioned about 8 states in Northeast. Okay, that includes Sikkim also. In Northeast, main Northeast, we have 7 northeastern states, and their name is mentioned in this article. Okay, although I have not included a map, I should have done it. So it says Arunachal Pradesh, Assam, Manipur, Meghalaya, Mizoram, Nagaland, Sikkim and Tripura. So these are the states in Northeast. So they have mentioned names of 8 states. And the thing is, like, in this article they have reviewed the content of a book, and this book is on factual findings, the social research that they have done. Name of the book is Identity and Marginality in Northeast India. Okay, so this is the name of the book, Identity and Marginality in Northeast India. Okay, so in this book they have talked about that in Northeast India there are many problems that are existing. The socially there are many problems. What are the problem? For example, indigeneity. I mean, like, some people are indigenous people, some people have migrated to Northeast, and because of this indigeneity has become an issue. For example, we have discussed about Assam Accords also. The Rajiv Gandhi government has signed Assam Accord in 1985, and that talks about 1966 to 1971 period, like that. So, like, this issue is also associated with indigeneity, means, like, the indigenous people feel that, like, they are outnumbered by the people who are coming from outside. So there is a let's say problem of we versus them in Northeast. So that talks about indigeneity. Then policy measures, economy means in Northeast India the economy is not that good because it is, let's say, little less connected with mainland India. And it talks about migration and land rights. Insurgency is there in Northeast India. Then militarization, state violence, and laws like AFSPA, Armed Forces Special Powers Act. So it is there in many states in Northeast India. Okay, so that is in implementation. And there was a lady, Irom Sharmila. she has protested for about 14 years, right, to, let's say, like, this remove this Armed Forces Special Powers Act. She has protested in the sense she did not consume anything for 14 years. She has been put into vegetative thing. I mean, like, hospital people have given her liquid to keep her alive. She has protested for 14 years to remove this Armed Forces Special Powers Act, but like that has not been taken away from the state of Manipur. So that's the thing. Okay, so this is, so in this article they say, like, in Northeast India there are huge number of problem, and people who come migrate from Northeast India to mainland India, like in the state of Delhi, or if they go to some other metropolitan city like Mumbai, so they are, let's say, like, mistreated. So they are not treated the way other people are treated. So they are considered to be foreign to some extent. So there is a kind of marginalization of Northeast community in the mainland India, especially in metro cities. So in this article they talked about that, like, the government of India has initiated a kind of program where they have connected one mobile number, let's say one number with 100. Okay, so there was a number dedicated to them, and they can give a call on that number and they will receive help. So that they have talked about. And in this article they have also talked about that, like, in Northeast we have different kinds of ethnic communities. Like in the state of Manipur, now this Kuki and Methi, so that problem is there. But, like, in Manipur we have Kukis also, we have Methis also, we have Nagas also. Okay, and in other states also we have, let's say, this ethnic violence that keeps on happening. So we should not consider Northeast to be a homogeneous territory. So within Northeast there are huge number of fragmentations of ethnicity, of aboriginality, related to economy, related to policy measures. So that's why the government of India has created a 6th schedule where, like, they have let's say, they have given a special status to some of the areas. So the book that we are talking about here, so this book talks about, so she has talked about another chapter. So in this book they have talked about that, like, these states are not same, and we should not view it to be homogeneous. We should have proper policy measures for each region of the state, so that the issues can be addressed properly in those regions. Okay, so this is the thing. So that's why I've thought of discussing this article. You can go through this article to understand a little more. Okay, so identity and marginality in Northeast India, challenges for social science research. So there was a, let's say, a kind of seminar was conducted by the same author who has written this book. In that seminar she has talked about Northeast related problems. Now this topic is important from IR point of view. It says Jaishankar. Jaishankar is the External Affairs Minister of India, right, or Foreign Minister of India basically. Jaishankar, Guterres discussed reforms on global financial institution sustainability. So this person is the Foreign Minister of India. This person is Secretary General of the United Nations. Okay, so they have discussed let's say some issues related to reform of multilateral financial system institutions. So they have basically discussed about World Bank, and they have discussed about International Monetary Fund. They have discussed how these institutions can be reformed, because in International Monetary Fund they have, let's say, many such measures, quota based system. So that does not represent, let's say, like, various countries in the same manner. The country that has big pocket, deeper pocket, so they have more decision making capacity in IMF. So in this article they have talked about that thing. Basically what is more important to understand in this article is that, like, recently they have had 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. In the 78th session, the Foreign Minister of India has highlighted India's stand. He has highlighted that, like, the World Bank, International Monetary Fund, they should be reformed. He has also highlighted that United Nations Security Council, it also needs to be reformed. Okay, so that it can represent various regions of the world. Okay, so this is the thing. I mean, like, in this article they have just, like, mentioned about the tweets and other thing of different people. Now this topic is important. It is from Science and Technology. Recently the Indian Space Research Organization has created Mark, it has launched Chandrayaan-3 mission, which was successful. Then it has also launched Aditya L1 mission. So these are two most important missions that they have launched. And again, they are going to launch another mission, which is Gaganyaan mission. So this Gaganyaan mission is going to be very, very important. So let us quickly discuss about Gaganyaan mission, because that is the thumbnail also for today's discussion. Gaganyaan mission, okay, Gaganyaan mission. So what is Gaganyaan mission? It's a technology mission, and in this particular mission we want to send human beings, okay, we want to, this can also be said to be a human space flight mission, okay, space flight mission. This is a human space flight mission, and this mission is going to be launched by Indian Space Research Organization. So the thing is, let us consider this is Earth, right? And in this mission we are going to launch a spacecraft, and this spacecraft is going to, let's say, like revolve around Earth in an orbit, and that orbit will be at about 400 kilometers, okay, it will be around 400 kilometers distance from the surface of the Earth. So this 400 kilometers distance, this orbit is known as, this particular orbit means a path that a satellite follows. This is known as low Earth orbit, okay, it is known as low Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit means like low Earth orbit is any orbit which is less than or equal to 2000 kilometers, okay, 2000 kilometer from the surface of Earth. It is at 400 kilometers, so it will be like, yes. So International Space Station is also placed at an orbit of 400 kilometer. 400 kilometer means there can be little bit up, down and all, but they want to place it over here. So we are going to send human beings, and as part of human beings, they are going to go there, they are going to reside like in this particular orbit for some time. They are going to do experiment, microgravity experiment, and then these people will be brought back to Earth. So we are going to send 3 astronauts, okay, 3 astronauts are being trained, and these people have been trained by Roscosmos. Roscosmos is an space agency of Russia, okay. So Roscosmos has trained these 3 people, and these 3 astronauts are from Indian Air Force, okay. So all the components that they are going to send, so they will be human rated, okay, means so as part of this Gaganyaan mission, let's say this is let's say this is the thing. So on the top there will be, let's say, astronauts sitting over here. So crew escape module is also there. If in case something happens, they'll be able to escape from there, and for them, let's say, we have the capacity of bringing them back also to the Earth. And as part of Gaganyaan, they have, let's say, created a kind of robot also to test it. This is known as Vyom Mitra. You might have heard about it. Vyom Mitra. So this is known as humanoid robot, okay, humanoid robot for testing purposes, okay. So that, we do not do the testing with human beings. So humanoid robot has been created by ISRO related to this. So this is the image, right, of this Gaganyaan mission. So this crew escape system is here. Then we have this orbital module. This orbital module is going to orbit. The module that we see, it is going to orbit in that particular, let's say, thing. In this orbital module, we have, let's say, a kind of so there is a, let's say, crew module where crew will be there, and there will be a support module. So 2 modules will be there, and it has, let's say, 3 kind of stages of fuels or engines. So one is solid propulsion, liquid stage, and then we have cryogenic stage, okay, as part of Gaganyaan mission. And in this article, they have talked about very minute things, very like important information. So they have talked about the engine was, one of the engine was tested at ISRO propulsion complex, which is in Mahendragiri. This information is important because in Chandrayaan 3 that we have launched, UPSC Civil Services GS paper 3, in the question they have asked about, let's say, virtual launch center. First they have asked about what is the objective of Chandrayaan 3 mission. That objective I have taught in the editorial discussion class in detail, and they have also asked about virtual launch center. So that's why, like, any center that is mentioned, that's also important. So here they have mentioned about ISRO propulsion complex. Okay, so here they have tested some of the engines, and name of those engines are mentioned over here. Okay, so today I wanted to have a, let's say, brief discussion about what is Gaganyaan mission. So that's the thing. So we are going to send human beings to low Earth orbit. Then this is another topic. It says Philippines removes China's barrier in disputed shoal. Okay, Philippines removes China's barrier in disputed shoal. Now the thing is, like, this particular topic is related to South China Sea dispute. Okay, South China Sea dispute. So the thing is, what Chinese government has done, there is a kind of, let's say, like, island. So it's not completely island, it is little bit submerged. So this is known as Scarborough Shoal. So there Chinese government has, let's say, like, these ropes they have, let's say, planted in the sea itself to demarcate their territory. And Philippines says that, like, they have done it in Philippines territorial waters. So Philippines Coast Guard have cut these ropes. Okay, so there is, let's say, a tension going on between China and Philippines related to it. So it is important that we need to see where is South China Sea located. So in this article they have talked about this Scarborough Reef or Scarborough Shoal. Okay, this is the thing. So this Scarborough Shoal that we see over here, it is very near to Philippines. So Philippines says, like, under the international law, under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, so if we demarcate territory, so it should be in the middle. Okay, it says like it should be in the middle, but China says that, like, up to here, like, it belongs to China, and they have created this artificial islands they have created, but, like, they have created planted these ropes also. So this is related to 9 dash line where China says it belongs to them. Okay, but Philippines says it belongs to them. So, like, they have cut the ropes. So this shoal is important, Scarborough Shoal, and in your free time you need to locate these places, like, for example, the Paracels Island, then Scarborough Shoal, then you need to Spratlys. Okay, so you need to learn about them location wise, north to south or south to north. Okay, that will help you to solve a question in prelims. Then we have another topic. It says banks told to display information on borrowers linked to SARFAESI Act. So what is SARFAESI Act? It's a kind of act, right, where, let's say, a person has borrowed money from a bank, and if that person or that organization does not repay money to the bank, so the thing is, whatever collateral or property that they have, let's say, kept with the bank, right, as a security, so those property can be confiscated by the banks, can be confiscated by the lending authorities or lending agencies. So recently, I mean, like, those lending authorities, let's say banks, they are known as regulated entities. So they are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India. So recently the Reserve Bank of India has asked the regulated entities, or means, like, commercial banks and non-banking financial companies, to disclose the information of those people whose assets may be confiscated under this particular thing, SARFAESI Act. So what is the full form of SARFAESI Act? It's Securitization and Reconstruction of Financial Assets and Enforcement of Security Interest Act 2002. Okay, so this is the name of the act. So RBI has asked the banks and non-banking financial companies to display name of those people, like, who come under the SARFAESI Act, and these banks and financial companies, they should update this information every month. Okay, so this has been said by the Reserve Bank of India. I mean, like in this article, that's all they have that they have said. It was a short topic, but I have cropped it and like, you know, so that it is visible. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much everyone for attending today's session. I hope you have a good day ahead. And thank you so much, Vijay Lal. Also, you have been writing comments. Also, you have been participating in the discussion. So meet you tomorrow. Thank you so much.